Yeah.
You know, part of the volatility, obviously, is behind these tariff threats. The president, of course, yesterday commented on the tariff threat. He spoke with Fox News' Laura Ingraham. Here's what he said.
China has been really hurting our country economically. And you see, we're going to win that one. It's going to happen. We're going to win that one.
How confident are you about the deal?
They'd like to make a deal right now. I just say they're not ready.
$250 billion additional tariffs if that deal doesn't go through.
$250 billion and have $267 billion waiting to go if we can't make a deal.
You know, most people, Pete, will say the president was right to push against China. China has been stealing from us, has been having this bad behavior, but how long can this go on? Your reaction to what's going on with China?
As long as it needs to go to get a good deal. The president is, of course, right. He has said if no deal is made, then these additional sanctions will happen. That's exactly what someone like him would need to do to get to a place where we get good terms in the future.
Right.
And they've stolen from us. They've got a slanted playing field. Their businesses benefit from intellectual property theft, from state support. This makes a lot of anyone who understands what this president is trying to do, which is put American companies and American workers first, understands that staring down the Chinese is a long-term play that may have some short-term hiccups.
Yeah.
The market may react at one level or another, but this is the right play for America to be up front in the world going forward. So we'll see if a deal's made, but you gotta lead with your best and strongest hand.
But the goal is right, but the method at which they're going after China has been in question. That's
Why?
The issue. Because he's fixated on the trade deficit, which isn't a debt. It's not a debt that we owe the United States. That is simply.
But what's the answer?
Here's the answer.
Yeah.
U.S. is restricting Chinese chip maker from doing business with American firms.
ZTE.
Wall Street Journal. No, it's not ZTE. It is Fujian Shenhua Integrated Circuit Company that Micron has accused of stealing its secrets. So now the Commerce Department issued a notice yesterday that it's going to prevent American companies from selling software and technology goods to this Chinese chip maker.
Well, that's a good move. You're right.
So this is a good move. My point is that because of the way that we're dealing with China, in part, we are potentially disrupting the global supply chain. And we will hear from Apple about this. Apple makes its iPhones in China.
Maybe they should make them in America. I mean, really, I understand the fundamentals and all of that stuff, but that's the larger idea.
That iPhone would cost $5,000, and that's not great for Apple, and it's not great for American consumers. So I'm just pushing back on that there are a lot of unknowns. And one thing that we've seen is we expected business investment to just take off like a rocket this year. It did early, but not in the last quarter.
Well, it's because of the uncertainty around tariffs.
Right, it's because of the uncertainty. Businesses are sitting back going, you know what, we got this massive tax cut and we're not investing it because we don't know what the road's going to look like 3-6 months from now. That's one of the issues.
I think the economy, though, Dagan, is doing very well, and not to confuse the economy with the stock market. So we have this pullback in the stock market, but I don't know what else. We've heard for so long that China is stealing our IP, China's unfair trade. So what else do you do to
Well,
make
they
it
should have
fair?
stopped ZTE, back to ZTE. I mean, this was a situation where a lot of technology companies were like, why is the U.S. helping ZTE? I mean, that was one way that the administration could have fought back, but Prime Minister Xi Jinping convinced them not to hurt ZTE. For some reason, the administration went along with it.
When Larry Kudlow took the top economic job in the White House, something that was floated was Kudlow was going to look at rejoining the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which again let us lock arms with other trading nations in Asia, but to take on China. Again, you use your allies and you use your trade heft and your financial and economic heft with all these other nations to push back on China. Maybe we get there. I'm just saying in the short run, this will hurt.
Yeah.
And the president,
in the short run, it will. But the president has said, yeah, we're going to get some hiccups in the short run. And that's what it takes to push back on someone who's behaving badly.
And in terms of the political impact of this market sell-off, it bears asking, because I've said this all along, when the president brags about the stock market and how it's performed during his time, he bragged about it last Thanksgiving when he was talking to the troops. And
I don't care about where he's bragging about. It's the wrong metric to brag about. But if the boats are rising,
well,
then now's the time to put the pressure on.
Does he own it? Let's ask that question. Does the president own the market downdraft?
It is coming now home to roost because we are seeing revenue warnings, as you've been pointing out. I mean, on the earnings front today, we're watching big names like General Electric. It's reporting later this hour. We've got Facebook reporting after the bell. So far, what have we seen? We've seen some companies pull back. You mentioned capital expenditures. They are pulling back in the face of uncertainty over tariffs. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know what the answer is in terms of pushing back on China. I like him pushing back on China, though. I don't know if tariffs are the answer or stopping some of the Chinese competitors in this market. He's got to do something. And I don't know that he has enough levers to pull. One of those levers is tariffs.
And one of the things
and the Chinese economy is impacted.
These big technology companies that manufacture in China, that do business in China, that are trying to sell into that market, these CEOs, quite frankly, will never be completely upfront about what's happening because they're trying to not alienate that government as well. This communist government in China will notoriously do disinformation campaigns within the company to destroy American businesses. We really will never know.
You just made the president's point, which we all know. The communist country that slants against American businesses hurts us.
But you're not
and the
listening
showdown
to me.
with them
I
is
said
important.
that I agree with taking on China. That's not the issue. It's how we're doing it. That's the rub in terms of the economy and the market.
You don't want these tariffs.
I think that it's going to hurt Americans. It's going to hurt American businesses and consumers.